The sound brings me
Our
back
home is finally built.
to this moment.
It's as if I wrote this, but without tragedy, only truth.
Living with or against the earth.
Who are these people we've become?
They weren't people I spent
I'm calling you on that telephone like you asked me to.
Do you remember telephone poles?
I'm glad you asked.
This is Active Listening, a New Dramatists podcast series that invites the resident playwrights to experiment with story, intimacy, and immediacy through sound experiences. This initiative was born of the questions that became urgent as our pandemic lockdowns began. What are creative alternatives to gathering together in rooms? What might a play for the ear sound like? Each episode is written, recorded, and produced by a different resident playwright. This one features work by M.J. Kaufman, who writes, I wanted to explore sounds, words, and thoughts at the intersection of crisis and revolution, living through both a global pandemic and global uprising. This is Apocalypsis by M.J. Kaufman.
When I was younger, I was obsessed with apocalyptic literature. My friends and I read Octavia Butler obsessively, passed around any other apocalyptic novels we could find, bonus points if they were queer and or featured women in charge. We always said we would have an apocalypse preparedness club. We would learn foraging and carpentry and how to build ovens. We would be prepared for whatever. We never did any of those things. I've learned now that we were participating in what is actually a common experience, making plans to make plans for dire situations, but never actually following through. Many preppers apparently find themselves in this position. There's a whole industry around it, selling you what you think you'll need when disaster strikes, or actually what others think you'll need when disaster strikes. The word apocalypse comes from the Greek apokalypsis, to lift the veil or discover a secret. My sister worked for years for the Department of Emergency Preparedness in Multnomah County, where we grew up. Earthquake survival scenarios were her bread and butter, but when I asked her what kind of self-defense I should learn for the end of the world, she said none. Studies show that people turn nicer to each other in times of disaster. I'm supposed to be in Greece right now. I got a grant to go to Greece right now, where I was gonna research ancient theater and gods. But instead, I'm stuck in New York City, where they haven't picked up garbage yet. And it's 85 degrees, and the smell is really, 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 really.
This one that raped you!
Once a week, I teach my little sister how to chant Haftorah over Google Meeting. We turn on the transcribe feature while we chant the verses and turn sacred text into nonsense poetry. It's both of our favorite part. Things like, bean evening, big dear, I have Tommy toes, my hardy black mare has a fossil, deep claw clasp of bustle, America teapot, a map of pasta, tip their cars so fast, a bite or two of shadow. I am not having any revelations. I am not getting any smarter. I am not learning any new skills. I am not growing or enriching myself in any way. I'm spending my apocalypse on the couch. I hope you spend your apocalypse On the couch. Don't get up, whatever you do. Just sit still and do nothing. That's the only way to uncover the great secret. By the time we left New York, there was no hand sanitizer on the shelves, no Clorox bleach wipes, not even hand soap at the pharmacy down the street. Super fresh shelves stripped, sirens whining. We were basically killing someone every time we took to the elevator. Simone called us sneaking through the Lincoln Tunnel. She said that if she was dying, we wouldn't be able to come see her, and would we please leave the city of huddled masses ASAP. We drove past pizza slices and punctured pillows. We folded books and boxes into the Honda, hid everything under a blanket. I made sure to pack my tarot cards and workout gear. We did it all in 4 hours or less. Everyone was like, "Where'd you go?" And we were like, "Don't mind us. We're just dealing with some internalized need to keep our passports with us at all times shit." We drove for 12 hours and only stopped once at Baskin-Robbins. Let's look into how you get European citizenship one more time. We peed by the side of the road. Always keep your diplomas in your go bag. On the island where we landed, turtles roamed the streets, and no one kept their distance. Ocean vicious, blood-striped flags, Trump on every bumper, windows declaring liberate. We had this faint pounding in our heads, go, go, go. My friend's mom died last week. My friend's dad died last week. Lorena was raising money for trans people badly affected when she got the plague herself. That was so early on. We honored her over Zoom and pledged to work in her memory. In the New York Times, they wrote that many trans people said they would rather die than be misgendered, which is what happens at the doctor's office. A lot of people are putting pronouns in their Zoom box, but I still get she'd sometimes, and I'm muted so I can't correct people, which is, honestly. But how do you transmit gender over the internet anyway? How do you transmit it's your birthday, or your grandmother's breathing her last breaths, or this is a beautiful thing I made, or I miss you and don't have anything to talk about but still want to stare at your face? Those kinds of senses just don't really fit into pixels and decibels. Every time we pray over Zoom, the delay makes our prayer into a canon, a call and response. Apparently, the rabbis in the Talmud count a minyan as those who can see each other's faces, so I guess we're cool if that's the definition we're going to go by. When my brother got sick, he just laid in bed and ordered takeout till he got better. The mayor is betraying the taxpayers. The mayor is betraying the taxpayers, and the bricklayers, and the surveyors, and the soothsayers, and the ozone layers. He only cares about protecting property. Billy's unit is on lockdown and they're resuming executions. On the big long list of ways the state can kill you, this one is definitely up there. My tiny apartment is full of his art, which makes it seem like I'm a rich collector. Really, I'm just the storage space for my friend's indefinitely postponed art show. When he called me during Ramadan, he said people always ask me if I get bored of praying. Even though writing's like breathing, sometimes it feels like a chore when there's an apocalypse or a revolution, which, by the way, I just heard a radio segment about how the two always follow each other like peanut butter and jelly, or if you give a mouse a cookie, or the way my dog looks at her favorite ball, or if we dance close for an hour, I know you're gonna kiss me. And Billy said if someone is putting the breath in your lungs, would you ever get bored of thanking them?
on the roof too.
Sometimes I think the secret might be in the code of the never-ending sirens. I spoke with an executive today who only used he pronouns for a trans woman character I was writing. I corrected every single time, and he never once got it. The city honked and bothered. The stoop sitters groaned. The neighborhood was like a tea kettle whistling its head off. The idiot boldly proposed I add an unaccepting father. On the street, vacated shops offered manicures and phone chargers, garden hoses, and Horcruxes. One restaurant closed yesterday, another closed today. Our streets are like a little kid smiling with half the teeth missing. The father could have a fuller journey, he explained, as he comes around to accepting the daughter. Outside, people blanketed their faces and smiled with their eyes. I thought, so then the father grows, and it's his story when it should be her story. Citizens crowded the fire escapes. The streets were swelling with bikes. They painted protest on their roofs. I never wanted a dad in this anyways. Your voice is really clashing with the track I'm trying to listen to, which is a teeming metropolis yearning to breathe free.
Survive on eBay, hash of rhyme, you've near my beak style, but yeah, who died? Old road email, being kind of, shame the gremlin, cool how yum, yard bear overheat and shower.
Two apartments, 117 walks, one TV pilot, 3 unfinished novels, 1 10-minute play, 10 loaves of sourdough bread, 13 Haftorah versus how many times a day do you pray? If this is a real apocalypse, it's hella boring. Octavia made it seem 10 times cooler. That whole thing about lifting the veil is bunk. The behavior of the mayor, that's all we're saying. The mayor's behavior, bees hating the May air, fingertips and battleships. Swish your hips to my apocalypse. Apocalypse, apoca-sift, apoca-shift, apoca-nix, apoca-chicks, apoca-you, apoca-me. Some people hear my voice and think I sound like a woman. I hear my voice and think I sound like the ocean. I spent the afternoon Googling glamorously. Machines rumbled like, this apartment's gonna blow. Did you hear about the trans people who are fundraising to get their whole bodies removed? Yeah, I know. It's like, and every day we walk by the place where they're piling bodies into trucks, my dog's like, this is great. And I'm like, when's shit gonna go back to? But hey, stop business as usual, right? Make a new normal, free them all, occupy City Hall. When I hear my voice, I think I sound like an explosion, like last summer but hotter, like Stonewall Inn in 1969, like your old leather jacket back out for spring, like the hum of the club while you're kissing outside, like the crackle of seltzer or the hiss of the ice. My friend's dad died today. We're gonna memorial on Zoom. Soon our faces will turn to screens, our hands to keyboards. 2 nights ago we drove an hour to pick up A from a park in New Jersey. We found her emergency housing in under 2 hours. You could say the community is incredible, or you could say the government's lamentable. That was emergency housing request number 4 in 6 weeks. If they would just stop funding the police. They sold the city to investors. We're stealing it back for ancestors. Golden sidewalks lined with trash. March and yelling, shout and dash. Seriously, people over property. Homes are not commodities. They're camping out in the middle of the street because everyone deserves a spot to wait out the apocalypse in peace. A couch on which to do nothing. A sink to fill with dishes. A floor to avoid sweeping.
Need backup, old beige. Baby, I will die. Right running man email. Would they encounter she now? Refreshed rate today. Survival, honey.
The police are saying my neighbor threw a Molotov cocktail into an abandoned cop car. If convicted, she'll get a mandatory minimum sentence of 45 years. The whole neighborhood gulped and left comments on Facebook. It seems like a peaceful revolution till it's not, and then who pays the price? I don't need your normal, get your cops off my block. I didn't actually mean normal anyway. I meant like, well, you know, checking your email on your smartphone from the bathroom in the middle of your shift at the Park Slope Food Co-op, or scarfing down a protein bar on the subway, sharing a sidewalk with a mob, or like someone in the movie theater lets their head drift onto your shoulder, popsicles or potato chips. I'm always ready for apocalypse. My friend's dad died yesterday. My friend's mom have died yesterday. They died today. The bodies they loaded the bodies, the lot, bodies removed, the genders on Zoom, the keyboard connections, internet affection. I organized my self-defense, sacred texture, nonsense. We did our best to risk arrest. We reveled in the city's mess. Old goats are boasting hope, and this is the only way to cope. When I looked up other words for apocalypse on the internet, it said Armageddon and catastrophe, devastation, Holocaust, cataclysm, decimation, annihilation. And then there was this other part underneath where it said antonyms, and the antonyms were good fortune, happiness, miracle, wonder.
You just heard Apocalypsis by MJ Kaufman. It was recorded and voiced by MJ, with additional sound effects from freesound.org users Volivieri, Chris Grewiford 18, Witta NYC, Kyles, Sheriff, and Ilka. Music was The Ghost in Your Piano Lullaby from freemusicarchive.org. Active Listening is a project of New Dramatists and is produced by Corinne Keithley-Sires and Melissa Tien. More information on the series and a sonic visualization of each episode can be found by going to newdramatists.org/active listening. New Dramatists is one of the country's leading playwright centers and a nationally recognized new play laboratory. Its mission is to provide playwrights with time, space, and resources in the company of gifted peers to create work, realize their artistic potential, and make lasting contributions to the theater. Active Listening is made possible with generous support from the Venturous Theater Fund of the Tides Foundation.